How does a small-town mechanic from Utah end up one of the most talked-about YouTubers in the world? Dave Sparks, better known as Heavy D, didn't just build trucks. He built an empire that's equal parts jaw-dropping and controversial. From monster rigs tearing up the desert to lawsuits that nearly shut him down, his story is packed with wild twists. But behind the smoke, noise, and chaos lies something even more fascinating. A journey that reveals ambition, controversy, and a hustle unlike anything else online. And it all started long before the world ever knew the name Heavy D. Long before cameras followed his every move, Dave Sparks was just a kid in Utah obsessed with machines. Growing up, he wasn't the kind of person to sit still. While most teens were worried about hanging out or going to parties, Dave was under the hood of a truck, figuring out how to make it bigger, louder, and tougher. His big break came when he started working for Rich Eggett, a business owner and motorsports enthusiast who became a mentor. Under Rich's guidance, Dave learned not only how to build powerful rigs, but also how to run a business. That mentorship shaped his mindset: think big, work harder, and never settle for average. With that philosophy, Heavy D launched Diesel Sellers, a company that quickly gained attention for selling and modifying massive diesel trucks. These weren't everyday vehicles. They were monster-sized statements that demanded attention everywhere they went. Customers loved the boldness, and Heavy D knew he had found his lane. This foundation would later catapult him into national recognition. But at that point, he was just a hungry young entrepreneur with a vision, someone ready to take diesel culture mainstream, no matter how risky it was. Heavy D's larger-than-life personality eventually caught the eye of television producers, and in 2016, Diesel Brothers premiered on Discovery Channel. The show was an instant hit. Viewers were captivated by the outrageous builds, the wild stunts, and the dynamic between Heavy D and his crew. These weren't just mechanics. They were entertainers who turned wrenches into primetime gold. The show took the diesel truck subculture and blasted it into mainstream America, making Heavy D a household name. From building massive rigs capable of crushing cars to pulling off over-the-top giveaways, every episode seemed bigger than the last. Fans tuned in not only for the trucks, but also for Heavy D's relentless energy and willingness to push boundaries. For years, Diesel Brothers dominated, running for 8 seasons and cementing Heavy D as one of the most recognizable figures in automotive entertainment. But with that fame came scrutiny. Behind the smiles and giveaways, trouble was brewing. The bigger the trucks got, the more attention regulators paid to what was happening under the hood. And soon, Heavy D would find himself facing a challenge that threatened to undo everything he had built in front of millions of fans. In 2020, Heavy D and his crew were hit with a lawsuit from the Environmental Protection Agency, and the headlines were brutal. The accusations: modifying diesel trucks in ways that violated emissions laws, a practice known as rolling coal. To regulators, it wasn't just a stunt, it was an environmental issue. Suddenly, the Diesel Brothers weren't just TV stars, they were defendants in a high-profile case. The lawsuit accused them of tampering with emissions systems and promoting builds that encourage others to do the same. Critics saw it as reckless, but fans saw something different: a government crackdown on their heroes. Social media lit up with debates, and Heavy D found himself at the center of a national conversation about trucks, freedom, and the law. The outcome was serious. The crew was ordered to pay fines, and the controversy cast a shadow over their brand. Some believe the case was a major factor in the eventual end of the Diesel Brothers TV show. But if Heavy D has one defining trait, it's resilience. Instead of folding under pressure, he pivoted, setting the stage for the next chapter of his career, one that would make him even more popular than before. When Diesel Brothers ended, most people thought Heavy D's spotlight might fade. Instead, he proved them wrong by shifting his focus to YouTube. Unlike TV, where storylines were controlled and polished, YouTube gave him the freedom to be raw, unpredictable, and completely in charge of his narrative. Fans loved it. Heavy D leaned into what he did best: pushing machines to their limits. His videos featured insane rescues, dragging stranded semis out of snow, pulling overturned trucks out of impossible terrain, and showing off heavy equipment in ways nobody else dared. The combination of danger, ingenuity, and authenticity made his channel explode in popularity. What made YouTube even more powerful for Heavy D was the direct connection with his audience. No middlemen, no scripts, no network executives telling him what he could or couldn't do. Just pure, unfiltered Heavy D energy. And unlike TV, every wild project doubled as marketing for his businesses, giveaways, and sponsorships. The move wasn't just a survival tactic, it was a masterclass in adaptation. Heavy D had turned controversy into opportunity, proving that he wasn't just a TV star, but a digital force to be reckoned with. And soon the stunts would only get bigger. If there's one thing Heavy D knows, It's how to go viral. His YouTube channel quickly became a stage for jaw-dropping projects that felt too outrageous to be real. From monster trucks that looked like they belonged in a sci-fi movie to helicopters and even tanks, Heavy D constantly raised the bar. One standout series featured massive off-road rescues where he used heavy machinery to pull vehicles out of treacherous snow and mud. These weren't staged gimmicks. They were real rescues that doubled as adrenaline-pumping entertainment. Fans loved seeing massive equipment in action, especially when Heavy D's crew pulled off what looked impossible. Then came the giveaways. Instead of ordinary contests, Heavy D made them spectacles. Custom trucks worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes paired with piles of cash. These giveaways weren't just generous, they were genius marketing moves that drew massive attention to his brand. Every project had one thing in common. It wasn't safe, it wasn't small, and it wasn't forgettable. Heavy D understood that in the world of online content, bigger is always better. And every time fans thought he couldn't top himself, he'd prove them wrong with something even crazier. With projects that cost hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions, fans often wonder, how does Heavy D afford it all? Speculation runs wild. Some believe the giveaways bring in more revenue than they cost, especially with merchandise sales and sponsorships tied to them. Others think his businesses behind the scenes, like diesel sellers, fuel the empire. Then there are the rumors. Some fans question whether every giveaway winner actually received their prize, sparking debates online. Others speculated that the end of Diesel Brothers had more to do with money and lawsuits than just creative differences. Heavy D rarely comments directly on these theories, which only adds to the mystery. His net worth has been a hot topic for years, with estimates ranging anywhere from a few million to tens of millions. But the truth is, Heavy D thrives on the speculation. The mystery around his money, his businesses, and his future projects keeps fans talking. And that's the genius. Whether people are praising him or doubting him, they're still tuned in. For Heavy D, controversy isn't a problem. It's fuel, and that's part of why his legend keeps growing. For all the noise and controversy, there's another side to Heavy D that fans sometimes overlook: his generosity. Beyond the giveaways and wild stunts, he's been involved in humanitarian projects, community rescues, and efforts to help those in need. From using his equipment to dig out stranded families during snowstorms to organizing aid trips overseas, Heavy D has shown a commitment to giving back. This duality, part showman, part humanitarian, is what makes his story so compelling. He's not just building massive trucks for the thrill of it, he's also finding ways to use that machinery to make a difference. Fans respect that balance, seeing him as both a fearless entertainer and someone grounded in faith and community values. His legacy isn't just about monster trucks or viral videos. It's about proving that even in an industry built on chaos, you can leave a positive mark. Whether people love him or criticize him, Heavy D has built something that lasts far beyond views and subscribers. The question now isn't whether he'll stay relevant, it's what insane project he'll tackle next. Because with Heavy D, the story never really ends. There's always a bigger build waiting just around the corner. Heavy D's story isn't just about trucks, it's about risk, resilience, and relentless ambition. From small-town beginnings to TV stardom, from lawsuits to YouTube domination, he's proven that controversy can either break you or make you unstoppable. Love him or hate him, Heavy D built more than machines. He built a movement that fans can't stop watching. And with every insane build, wild stunt, and jaw-dropping giveaway, one thing becomes clear: Heavy D is just getting started. The real question now is, how much bigger can he go before the world finally catches up? If you enjoyed diving into Heavy D's wild story, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got more unbelievable stories, untold controversies, and behind-the-scenes secrets coming your way, and you won't want to miss what's next.